Welcome to my Story Spark channel. Good evening, darling. Hello, John. What's wrong, sweetheart? You look upset, John asked, noticing Jenny's distressed expression. Dave knows about us, John, Jenny said, her voice barely above a whisper. He ran into me this morning. He said one of his friends saw us yesterday evening at the restaurant. Damn, this could complicate things, John replied thoughtfully. But it's not the end of the world yet. We talked about this possibility. I know, John, but when it actually happened, Jenny's voice cracked with emotion. It hurt. After all, Dave and I have been married for 25 years, and we have 2 children. What did you tell him? Almost exactly what we agreed on. I didn't deny it. You know I'm not a compulsive liar, John, and as I said, I mostly stuck to the script you suggested. You told him the truth? John pressed, leaning forward. What? That I'm a successful career woman, a lawyer no less, who has been married to a simple mechanic for almost her entire conscious life? A guy who never tried to better himself? That for once, I wanted to be with an alpha male, someone equal to me, a man who can take responsibility, not someone who caters to your every whim? Yes, to a considerable extent, Jenny admitted. But don't belittle him too much now. He has his own business, and his profession provided for the children and me. She paused, looking troubled. It's just that when we rehearsed this, it seemed like I deserved someone like you. But when he reminded me of years of support, both emotionally and financially, that's when all of this sounded a bit hollow. Do you understand what I mean? Did you tell him everything? What if he doesn't agree to a status quo? Then the company will support you in the divorce and leave him penniless, John declared confidently. Yes, I did, John, Jenny responded wearily. The only problem is that he seemed indifferent to all of this. He just kept repeating that he can't believe I'm betraying him after all his dedication. She swallowed hard. I must say, John, it was painful for me. I tried to tell him that I'm not rejecting him. I just feel like I deserve a little more. But I don't think he understood that. I don't want to lose him, John. A little more? John scoffed. You said you liked my big tool, dear. You told me it took you places where your old husband hadn't taken you in years. Did you or did you not say you never had such sex? Yes, I did, John, Jenny admitted, flushing. But I also told you I didn't have that experience when I married Dave, and he was always so gentle. You're so different, so dominant and demanding. It just captivated me. Yes, and I'll keep destroying you, darling, John smirked. Your husband will just have to accept that you now have an additional dimension. He lost his status as the alpha male. I'm the alpha male here, and he'll have to come to terms with that. It's uncomfortable for me to think that I was worth 25 years of marriage to you, Jenny murmured. You know what? I'll prepare some documents, and then I'll go to him this afternoon. Leave me his workshop address. What documents, John? Everything I can think of, Jenny. You know the game we play with all these gullible fools. A restraining order preventing him from approaching you, me, or your home, freezing the bank accounts of his company. That's just the beginning. John's voice grew harder, hitting him with papers he has no right to know about. That's just a bluff. Your little husband will soon realize in no uncertain terms who the alpha is here. Believe me, darling, by the time I finish tormenting him, he'll beg you to give him anything you desire. I don't know, John. You didn't see his face this morning. Later that afternoon, at precisely 2:17 p.m., John strode into Dave's workshop. Master Brown, may I come in? My name is... I know who you are, Dave cut him off. All right, that saves time. I believe Jenny told you this morning that the agreement we made with her will remain intact even in the foreseeable future. John's voice oozed confidence as he set down his portfolio. I don't know if you're aware, but I am the owner of the company where Jenny works. This means I have over 20 lawyers at my disposal, and I can assure you that each one of them was chosen for an outstanding track record of winning cases. More than half of them have experience in family law, and trust me, without hesitation, I will direct each one of them towards you. John began pulling documents from his portfolio. These documents are exactly what I prepared this morning. Let me quickly go through them. This is a divorce petition. You see, your wife has already signed it. This is an order to freeze the accounts of your company until the business is sold under a global agreement. This is an order giving you 24 hours to leave your marital home. These restraining orders confining you at least 200 meters away from me, Jenny, her home, and our workplace. He smiled coldly. Do you understand where this will all lead, Dave? I'll drown you in lawsuits so much that you won't even be able to move. You'll give up in the end when you won't have a penny left to find a better lawyer in the world. And you know what? All this time, I'll be sleeping with your wife. Yes, I see that you're stronger and more powerful than me, Dave replied quietly. But you must understand that Neanderthals no longer rule the world. Brains triumphed over muscles many years ago. Listen, Master Brown, it shouldn't be like this. Not at all, John continued smoothly. Let's just maintain the status quo, okay? I'll continue to sleep with her whenever I want, and you'll sleep with her when she wants, like in the last 4 months. Hey, why stir up trouble? Someday she'll tire of me, and then she'll be all yours again. John straightened his tie. All right, I've said my part. Let's face the truth. If you were everything she needed, we wouldn't be here now, would we? My advice? Just accept it. Think about it. Use it as an opportunity for self-improvement. But one piece of advice, buddy, back off from your wife. I stole her from you, not because I was the most charming guy who tried, but because I was an alpha male and told her how it would end, just like I'll deal with you. Are you done talking, Big Mouth? Dave asked quietly. I see that like most of modern society, you have no clue what the term alpha male means. Do you want a simple mechanic to explain it to you? Come on, explain what this means. Well, they say it's better to see once than hear 100 times. With these words, Dave took a step forward and struck the lawyer's face with a right punch. A satisfying crunch of breaking teeth echoed through the workshop. John fell to the floor, leaning his back against the wall, absolute astonishment evident on the undamaged part of his face. Dave said calmly. Before the pain truly set in, he lifted John to his feet, only to immediately drop him again with an uppercut to the diaphragm. John lay on his side, struggling to catch his breath. Just as the effects of Dave's surge started to show, his right boot with its steel cap landed on the lawyer's outstretched arm, breaking his wrist and several bones in his hand. The boot's kick to the chest broke 3 ribs. And those were illustrations 3 and 4. And Master, Alpha, it would be very helpful if you stop squealing. I'm trying to teach you something. Dave's voice remained eerily calm. By the way, thanks for making me break the promise I made to myself back in school, never to use my size and strength in anger. I was going to spare you the consequences of Jenny's actions until you barged in here and provoked me. Even calm men have their breaking points. Dave placed his foot on John's throat until he regained his attention. Now, let's go back to your education. The term alpha male comes from wolf packs. He's the only wolf that tells everyone else what to do. Maybe he's not the smartest or even the biggest wolf, but he's the nastiest bastard around, the one who kills without hesitation. He's absolutely ruthless, and you, son, don't even come close. You may be an alpha in the small world of your office with air conditioning, but here in the real world, you're just another crappy wolf's pup. And I really wouldn't call you smart. You didn't even bring any witnesses, you bastard. Dave's foot pressed slightly harder. Now, let's look at the possible future. The first option is to report this to the police. Maybe they'll arrest me, or maybe not. Maybe they'll release me on bail, or maybe not. Maybe they'll pin it on me, or maybe not. There are many maybes, John. Worst case scenario, I'll get a 5-year education in prison. 5 years learning how to hurt people, how to kill and hide a body so no one ever finds it. And then, when I finish my apprenticeship, we'll have another conversation like this. He removed his foot. Or, big talker, you can chalk this up to experience. Use it as one of your lessons in what can happen when you sleep with another man's wife. And now, get lost. I need to clean up something that's bleeding and for Christ's sake pissing on my beautiful clean workshop floor. Alpha my ass. Later that evening, Jenny called John's office. John, I'm waiting for you at the office. I thought you'd been back for ages. Where are you? I was just admitted to the ward after a 3-hour stay in the operating room, Jenny. Oh my God, what happened? Did you get into an accident? No, Jenny. I underestimated your husband. I stupidly went to see him alone. He broke my nose, left arm, several ribs, and possibly my cheekbone. I can't believe this, John. As far as I know, he's never been cruel. Believe me, it's true. If you want, I can show you the x-rays. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Not my Dave. Is there any way to stop you from going to the police? We are partially at fault. Despite what he did, Dave doesn't deserve to end up in jail because of this. The police have already called, Jenny, John replied wearily. I told them I was hit by an unknown driver. Your sweet, gentle husband told me that as bad as things are for me now, this is just the first installment of what I can expect if I press charges. I can't risk it again. That sounds a bit silly, John. It seems like you're afraid of him. I just can't believe it. Dave wouldn't hurt a fly. Well, believe me, I have broken bones to prove it. I'm just doing what I need to survive, Jenny. And now I must go. They've loaded me up with painkillers, and they're starting to take effect. The next morning at 9:18 a.m., Jenny burst into John's hospital room. John, you have to help me. Last night I worked until 8. I didn't know if it would be safe to go back home. I tried calling Dave to ask, but he never picked up. When I finally mustered the courage to go back home, all the locks had been changed. I couldn't get in. In the end, I stayed at my sister's. I checked this morning, and all our bank accounts are empty, and none of our credit cards are working. You have to help me. Can you ask one of the guys who handle divorces to start the process of removing Dave from the house? Can I stay with you until then? No. But why, John? Because of all this. If I use the company's assets and resources to help you, he'll have a reason to come after me again. Actually, I'm going to cover myself. You're fired, Jenny. I'll pay you an extra 4 weeks of severance if you gather your things and leave today. Can you tell Dave that I fired you if you see him? Please? Haven't you heard me, John? Dave cleaned me out. Without money, a job, and your help, I'm screwed. I'm really sorry, Jenny. You didn't see your husband's face when he was beating me. I'm doing what I have to. You're pathetic, John, Jenny spat. Yesterday, you were boasting about being an alpha male. Today, you're trembling and worried that my husband, who's 10 times bigger than you, is hiding under your bed. How could I ever think I'd be a queen if I ended up with you? It's beyond me that I was delusional enough to think I ever took a cheater like you seriously. Epilogue. 10 a.m. the same day. Jennifer Brown sat in her stalled car on the roadside with empty credit cards and no cash. It was only a matter of time before she ran out of fuel. Fortunately, Dave hadn't thought to cut off her phone service, or was he calculatedly cruel? She was driving to the city where her 2 children now lived, in search of shelter. Over the years, they had never taken more than an hour to respond to her messages. She started calling them right after 10 o'clock in the morning. She checked her messages again. 0. Jenny sighed, grabbed her useless purse, and stepped out of the car. Straightening her skirt, She stepped onto the shoulder and raised a thumb. A predator approaching in a beat-up van smiled to himself upon seeing a lone woman on the roadside. He wouldn't call himself an alpha male. Even he was wise enough to know that's not what loners are called. His smile widened as he approached her. This stretch of road had always been productive for him.